and conditions of use, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/sportsScotland. Today's podcast is taken from BBC's Radio Scotland Sports programme on Monday the 1st of February. I was joined by Michael Grant, Graham Spears and the Ross County defender Richard Foster, and we brought you a preview from episode 5 of our new series Teammates, featuring John Brown and Stuart McCall, reflecting on their time at Rangers. We discussed the job being done by the Celtic manager Ronnie Deila, and we look back on a fantastic day for Ross County at Hampden with the latest on Kilmarnock's search for a new manager.
Hello there, and welcome to the first round of this tour. It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to see what you can do.
Football reporter Chris McLaughlin. Welcome to the show. We're joined this evening by Michael Grant, Graham Spears and the Ross County defender Richard Foster. If you want your say tonight, please get in touch. Text us 80295 on Twitter at BBC Sports Sound or tweet me at BBC Kennyman. We'll discuss the fantastic success for County later in the programme. Let's get straight to the day's transfer news.
Okay, this one's looking to be around 240 yards out.
Senior football reporter Chris McLaughlin. It's actually been a very busy day, Chris.
Yeah, January transfer deadline day, Kenny, as you know, in Scotland, usually pretty dull. Today, lots happening and still over 5 hours to go before the window. How do we say it? Slams shut? I think we say slams, yeah. That one, yes. Before the window slams shut. Starting with Rangers, as I said at the top, they finally got their man. Michael O'Halloran has signed a 4.5-year deal. I think this was Rangers' third attempt at getting him. We think the deal is worth around £500,000, perhaps £300,000 up front with add-ons. We think that's also Rangers done for the night. They may well bring in a youngster from Wolves for the development squad. Celtic, well, they concluded their deal for Patrick Roberts, 18-month loan deal from Manchester City. He spoke to the media today. We'll be hearing from him later on.
Nice.
Also, we understand that they should complete the signing of the Turkish striker Colin Kazim Richards, the Feyenoord striker. We're expecting media conference later on this evening, possibly if that deal goes through. If we understand he's in Glasgow for a medical.
Okay, let's see what you can do with this 7-footer.
Celtic in terms of bringing players in, although Nadir Chifti has moved on loan to Turkish side Eskirspor. So for Celtic
starting
fans,
a round off with the birdie. Bold maneuver.
Anyway, in terms of Hearts,
okay, let's give her a smash here.
The big news, I suppose, before we talk about who's coming in at Hearts is who's going out. Osman So, 6 months left in his contract, and over £1 million he's off to China. Huge deal for Hearts, absolutely massive. He's off to China, as I say, in a deal worth over £1 million. They have signed Don Cowie after he was released by Wigan, former Inverness County player. I think they're also very keen. We know already they are keen on John Suter. They're thinking that they may well get that over the line before the window closes at midnight this evening. Where else? Well, Aberdeen. I think Derek McInnes had said earlier in the month that he wasn't expecting anything.
Okay, this is very deep in the rough.
So Inverness Caledonian Thistler looking at taking David Goodwillie from Aberdeen on loan until the end of the season. So plenty to watch out there. Also Partick Thistle. In fact, Partick Thistle, one of the quickest off the map today. They signed the QPR trainee on a 6-month deal, Antonio German, and the Englishman, so plenty happening at Partick Thistle. As I say, Kenny, over 5 hours to go, so plenty happening, and the possibility.
All right, 12-footer here.
Yes, thanks to Chris for now. Any further updates, you'll get them on the BBC website. Should anything develop between now and 7:30?
Oh, so close.
Here to bring the news of that first right here on Sports. And let's discuss some of these deals. We'll hear from Patrick Roberts in a few minutes' time, Michael. But in terms of one of the deals that's been a bit of a saga this window, Michael O'Halloran at last
one over for the round
to strike a deal.
All right, let's let her rip.
And probably both clubs are pretty happy with this because, as far as we understand it, the transfer fee is about £500,000, and that's pretty much what St Johnstone said they wanted from the outset.
And Rangers seemed to kind of, labour it a wee bit and kind of, try to lowball St Johnstone and get him on the cheap. It didn't happen. I mean, St Johnstone. One of the things I admire about St Johnstone is how well they look after themselves. They're a hard wee club, and I don't think they get messed around and taken lightly. And £500,000 is
okay,
good
11-footer here. This is definitely
makeable.
makeable.
Signing for Rangers. I mean, I saw that Matt Warburton described him as kind of fitting the profile of what he wants, and I think that makes perfect sense. He's a good age. He's quick.
There we
he's
go.
Very strong. I mean, he might add goals to his game in the Rangers.
2 over for the round.
In the Rangers side, who are probably going to create more chances over the piece than St Johnstone do. So, I think it's a good bit of business for
Okay, it's time to send this ball on its way.
People were questioning, Graham, was the money there for Rangers to go out and buy people that missed out at Garaga at Brentford? And I think a lot of Rangers fans were looking for a statement of intent from the club in this window.
This is it. Well, I think.
Nice. All right, we're about 210 yards out, I'd say, from here.
Well, I think Mark Warburton clearly wanted Diego Raga or Michael O'Halloran, Kenny, and if he had gone neither, I think Mark Warburton would have been extremely disappointed, and a lot of Rangers fans, rightly or wrongly, would have asked questions again. Well, when I say again, they would have asked some questions of the Dave King regime. So I think from Mark Warburton's point of view, he'll be well pleased to get O'Halloran.
Ugly lie, but we're almost on the green. Let's keep going.
He was a great signing by St Johnstone, a great discovery by Tommy Wright, kind of languishing in the reserves at Bolton. St Johnstone have got a couple of good years out of him. They've brought him on. I think his form recently has tailed
very
off
nice.
That
To save par.
because of this transfer saga around him. So
solid
if Mark
par, well
Warburton
done.
had failed to land one of these 2 targets, he would have been severely disappointed.
And that'll
I think
keep
a number of
you
Rangers fans would have asked
at
questions.
2 over for the
Landon
round.
O'Halloran, I think, is a good signing for Rangers. I think he's a smashing player with lots of potential, and I think it's a great move for the player. It's a fantastic move for Michael.
Yeah, you'll have faced him many times, Richard, I'm sure. He must be very difficult to play against.
This one's looking good.
Electric pace of his.
Yeah, he's so direct, and he seems to be able to go from a standing start to full pace very, very quickly. And so if you kind of back off him and give him a couple of yards, there's no chance you're going to catch him. I found that out a couple of times. But no, very direct, like I say, he's strong. He set up a lot of goals for St Johnstone. Like I said there, if he adds a few goals this game, he probably will get more chance at Rangers. And it is, facility-wise, it's great to go in every day at Murray Park. You've got the facilities there to make yourself a better player.
How tough is it though? If he phoned you up tonight for some advice, you played at a big club, Aberdeen, but I think it's fair to say when you move to Celtic or Rangers, life changes. How difficult is it to prepare yourself for that?
Whoa, yeah, you hit the green and under regulation on this one. You sink this next putt, and now we're cooking.
On the pitch for your first game and you hear the fans, nothing will, kind of replicate that. Even going there as an opposition.
That's always unfortunate when you miss those Eagles. See if we can smash a birdie in
It's a
though.
great club to play for.
All right, 1 over for the round. Okay, hole number 6.
And I think, and I hope he does really well, and I'm sure he will.
The thing is, nobody actually turns down these moves, do they? Unless they've got something else up their sleeve in England. If an SPFL player is approached by Rangers and Celtic, he always goes because the money is so much better. And even if he has reservations about some of the kind of off-field stuff that you have to deal with and the scrutiny on it, you just have to. You think, right? Well, I'll put up with it, and you probably wouldn't think much of yourself if you didn't think you could put up with it,
Michael, I interviewed Michael O'Halloran, funnily enough, a few days before that famous League Cup tie at Rangers.
And we have about, I'd say, 140-ish yards from here.
Dismantled Rangers that night back in early September. And the thing I liked about him was I thought O'Halloran was totally respectful of St Johnstone and Tommy Wright. He credited the club with rescuing his career, bringing him back to top flight football.
Okay, you're on the dance floor. Good stuff. All right, 14 feet to the hole.
And he was totally respectful of St Johnstone and Tommy Wright, and I'm sure that will remain the case. But absolutely, of course, Michael. Your manager said to you that one of the big 2 are in for you. Of course, you want to go. You don't want to.
And that performance brings you down to even par. Not bad.
This is a real chance in your career.
you go. He did actually play. You know, the boys are saying he didn't play well since the kind of speculation. And I agree with you. But he did play well at Parkhead a couple of weeks ago when St Johnstone
Nice.
lost.
Should be in the
And he
fairway.
actually set up the goal for McLean, and he can burst away from Siminovic, and who I just think wasn't ready for this kind of explosive pace and cross from McLean.
Okay, so we're right around 180 yards out.
That, you know, he can still go into a kind of big arena like that and deliver.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch Michael O'Halloran and how he does in fact do at Rangers. Let's switch our attention to Celtic. A fair bit of business for them today. Let's start with Patrick Roberts, who's joined them on an 18-month loan deal.
I'm very delighted. I mean, it's a massive club.
Nice.
As soon as my agent called me and said they were interested, I was jumping up a bit really, because I mean, it's huge in Scotland, it's huge in Europe. What I want really, I'm here for a long time, so I've got time to bed into the club. I want to win trophies, I want to win games.
Sweet.
I want to get that.
All right, nice little 2-foot putt.
For my career.
Okay, moving along.
I'm very direct. I'm very quick. I like to.
And with that, you will stay at even par.
I like to score goals, which I plan to do as much as I can. Obviously, I know it's a big club, so there's big players, and I know how good they are. So for me, it's just to keep doing well in training and
Looking good.
get a chance to play for this club. It's the biggest club in Scotland. They play in Europe. They play in a massive stadium like this. I mean, what's not to know about them? I mean, I used to wear a kit when I was younger. My mum used to buy me one.
Okay, for the birdie.
I do know a lot about Scotland from them. No, I adore the player. He's my favourite player.
Okay, let's see what you can do with this 7-footer.
I don't see any resemblance to it, but I just love the player, so that's very well. Man City know that I used to be playing football.
Ouch. Okay, let's finish out. Moving right along here.
He did very, very well. I spoke to him and he said it was a very,
Sitting
very good
at
club.
1 over
So I was
for the
happy by
round.
what he said, and I was really excited.
All right, you're going to put this in the fairway.
I know my ability, and I'm here for 18 months, so I'm going to do my best for that 18 months that I'm here.
Well, he's off to a good start right away with the Celtic.
All right, looking good so
fans
far.
saying for the biggest club in Scotland. Interesting watching the reaction from you and Richard Foster when he said that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You need to choose your words carefully.
And from here, we're right around 170 yards out.
Rangers fans, Christmas card list, but I think, yeah, he said the right thing for the Celtic fans, not the right thing for the Rangers fans.
It's an interesting one, Graham, isn't it? That this is obviously a very highly rated youngster, and they've got him for 18 months. They can work with this boy, he can contribute, you'd imagine, quite a lot to the side.
Yeah, well, I think it's key that they've got him for 18 months and not 6 months, Kenny.
All right, you're on the green. You've got a lot of work to do, but you are on the
weary
green.
of this piecemeal kind of team building, squad building going on at Celtic, where, you know, so that's one thing. I think 18 months, whoever the coach is, whether it's,
Oh, that was
Ronnie
going to be
Dyler or anyone else,
fantastic.
that's a good
Super
point.
putt. Just didn't drop.
So 18 months, I think, to bed in itself.
Okay, so that'll keep you at 1 over for the round.
Hopefully make some progress.
Okay, here we go.
Relationship the Celtic have with Man City, well, it's hit and miss. Denier, a tick. Boyata thus far, a major cross. So,
Whoa, that one's going places.
Peter Lawwell.
Kind of in between.
Well, yeah. So we know that Peter Lawwell and Ronnie Dyler have developed this, forged this kind of link between Celtic and Man City. I await to see
All
the
right,
evidence of
you're
this
looking at
young
around
kid.
175
I've seen
yard
so
shot
many
here.
False dawns in Scottish football. All I can say just now, and we played a bunch of games for Fulham last season, and apparently did quite well. I await to see the evidence of this young kid, but he talks a good game. He's had a good write-up. Let's see how good he is with his boots on.
Yeah, GG on the way out on loan to.
Oh, you're
to
getting
Turkey.
there. You're getting there.
He's
In the
been a
rough, but we're
major
close to the
disappointment.
green.
Major disappointment. Yep. I mean, he looks a shadow of the player he was at Dundee United, where I mean, he wasn't a prolific scorer for United, but he was always a threat and a presence. You know,
He had real confidence, didn't he, when he played?
Yeah,
Sweet.
and he looked like a strong character and physically strong.
Well, I'm happy to move on.
But he's just one of these guys who just hasn't been able to handle.
And that'll keep you at 1 over for the round.
I mean, don't forget, he came to be.
And we are teeing off
4-2-3-1 system
on,
that
what is this?
Ronnie
This is,
Dyler likes,
this
and
is
kind
number
of
11.
displace Lee Griffith and anything. But you know, he had an early suspension which didn't help him. Quite a long domestic suspension, but even when that was out of the way, he just
Looking
he
good
just
so
looked
far.
he's looked like a player who's gone backwards in the last 6 or 7 months.
Kenny, can I just say briefly, I've said this to you before, every time we mention
Well, I can't get them all right. I'm not a computer. Well, you could have worse lies. There are worse lies on the course than this. This one's in the first.
1.5. Was it? Was that
1.3, I think.
I just remember this statement. We were chuffed to bits to get that money from Celtic.
Yeah, great piece of business. And I wonder if it's similar to the pressure that O'Halloran will find himself under. If he
Nice, you're on there. You're on the dance floor. 9-footer here.
I think could deal with that sort of pressure, isn't it, with the fans in your back and with that weight of expectations. It was a significant fee for Celtic to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Nice.
the longer he goes when he signed for Celtic and he doesn't score and he doesn't play as many games, his own
Okay,
confidence
that takes
drops.
you
know,
down
he's
to
come from
even
United,
par.
he's
Nice.
having a great season, great time.
All
he's
right,
playing all the time.
let's let her
and then
rip.
he goes to Celtic and you're up competing against guys like Lee Griffiths for that number one, the kind of main striker they play. And in fairness to Griffiths, this season he's had a fantastic
Looks like this is a
season,
beauty.
So how do you displace him? You wait for your chance. He's had a few chances. He's came in and he looked like, he said that he looked like a shadow.
Unlucky. I take back that last comment.
For United, he seemed to be the main man. Everything went through him. He was, quick, strong, skillful, and you never seen that when he came on for Celtic. And it could be down to him not playing as many games and your confidence.
And a fantastic chip out of that rough.
Like
Good job. Good job.
Go on the pitch and you're not
One under for the round.
Parkhead, the kind of fans.
Let's put this ball down in the fairway.
You want guys on the pitch who want to take the ball and want to score goals, and if you're not at it, you'll get replaced.
Chris was telling us, Michael, Kazim Richards in town could be done tonight. Just reading up some stuff on him today, he's quite an interesting character, isn't he, to say the least?
Interesting is one way to put it, yeah. It's a strange one, I must admit. You do wonder. I mean, we've talked and we've all kind of praised Celtic on air and in newspapers about the kind of Celtic model and this idea of signing young and the Danish defender that just signed, Sviatchenko, he fits the model.
Yeah.
And they still do buy guys at that level. But Kazim Richards is not that. I mean, he's 29. He's been around a lot of clubs. Never really settled. Didn't last long at Feyenoord. He was only there 6 months, 1 goal, I think. Off-field kind of issues.
This one's a beauty.
Train with journalists. I mean, I watched a kind of clip of...
Excellent.
For the bird.
You do actually wonder whether there's an element of Celtic signing just to kind of stir things up and stir the pot a wee bit, and a guy
2
that
under
fans
for the
might
round.
kind of rally around and lift the place.
Okay, it's time to send this ball on its way.
When Rangers signed him, you think that there's a bit of baggage with this guy, but you think, let's just go for it anyway. He's not been a prolific goal scorer, and I do wonder where he kind of fits in, because one of the clips I saw him, he was saying, I don't like being a substitute, I'm not a substitute kind of thing. Well, as Richard says, I mean, Griffiths is cast iron.
I think he might have hit a tree.
And should be. But, Kazim Richards coming in, Carlton Cole still kicking about. So they do have a bit of depth there, but to me,
Not much to do.
it's Griffiths and then
I
a bit of a drop off,
I think in the last 6 months, the major deficit at Celtic, the major botch has been looking at their strikers. I mean, Michael, as you say, if you take away Lee Griffiths, and I've heard people say to the contrary, I actually think Ronnie Dyler was slow to the party at Lee Griffiths. He was clearly
9-footer here.
prolific
See what we can do.
goal scorer. He couldn't get in Ronnie Dyler's team for months on end, but he's proved himself now. But once you get past that and you
Well, I
get
wish
the
those
Fosun
cuts
and
would just
Jetson,
drop
Carlton
sometimes.
Cole and others, and now this character coming in from Dutch football.
All right, let's get out of here.
Team, the final third, that Celtic need to.
Okay, 1 under for the round.
Make far more impressive than
All right,
it's been.
next stop. Let's hope for some
Hearts
fairway.
who've been busy today, Michael. First of all, Chris Taylor will do a fantastic piece of business. Osmond
Looks
Sow's been
like
a
you'll be
great
in the
player
short
for them,
stuff
but
here.
The money on offer, £1 million plus, with 6 months left in his contract. They couldn't knock that back.
Well, I mean, if an unnamed Dundee United supporter was chuffed to bits with getting that for Chifty, I mean, what on earth are Hearts going to think about getting that, given that he only has 6 months? I mean, to be honest, even if he had a couple of years left, you would probably go for that. I mean, Scottish teams aren't really in a position to knock back £1 million. So's gone. Don Cowie's in, and there's suggestions, isn't there, they're going to go back in for John Souttar.
Yes.
Gomez has also gone out to Motherwell. So that, I suppose Robbie Nielsen is thinking that they still have enough goals on the side.
All right, this next one's for Birdie.
Who's going to replace So then?
It's
All
a
right,
good
let's
point,
keep
isn't
going.
it? It's Don Cowie's coming in. He's
Sitting
not,
at 2
he's
under
not
for the round.
to Osmond Sows. I mean, again, a guy with experience. He
Here we
played a
go.
lot down
Let's
south.
pop
That's
this
an
in the
interesting
fairway.
signing.
It is. I mean, he's a good player. I think Aberdeen were interested in him at one point, but he's been released by Wigan. He's 32. He's hardly a spring chick, but he should be a decent enough signing. I do think the Osmond Sow departure is strange. Listen, Kenny, I'm sure Robbie Nielsen and Craig Levine know what they're doing, but their transfer dealings
It's looking good.
are very intriguing. Osmond Sow presumably has got to go. The Chinese Super League's got lots of money. He's been paid a fortune to go there, and Hearts have been playing good money. Who does it leave up front? Juan Ma and Gavin Riley.
Yeah.
So they're the two I can think of. I presume they'll be bringing somebody else in tonight, or else it seems to me Hearts in the final third are leaving themselves a little bit short. But it was a great signing by Levine and Nielsen. It's great money for Hearts. I just hope they can bring in a striking reinforcement.
Looking at Aberdeen, Michael.
And for the bird.
Good Willie could be on his way out to Ross County on loan. And also talk about Greg Tansey coming in. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, the
was almost
one
in.
is new. I must admit that.
All right, we got about a foot to the hole. Let's do this. And the next hole coming up.
I'm not surprised that County
And
might
that'll
be
keep
interested.
you
I'm not
at
surprised
2
that
under for the round.
Aberdeen would let it go.
Well, just letting you know it's a bit windy out there, so keep that in mind as you go on to the tee.
Because, I mean, you know, Adam Rooney has obviously been prolific for them this season, but if he was to be injured or if he's suspended,
This one's
their
looking
lineup
good.
for us, Hearts would be without Sow. And Goodwillie's played a fair bit this season, been in and out of the team and started occasionally. So I'd be surprised if Stuart McInnes let him go without a replacement. Greg Tansey has been linked with Aberdeen for a while. I think there is a clause, a kind of release trigger fee in his contract, and if Aberdeen are prepared to get that, then they would talk, and I would imagine he would leave Calicut for Aberdeen.
Okay, let's see what you can do with his 8-footer.
There's a feeling that Aberdeen could do with beefing up their centre midfield and getting a bit more kind of bite and aggression.
Great putt in there for the par.
And Tansey would give them that. At the moment, Aberdeen's
Okay,
main,
so that's going to keep you at
transfer
2
business
under
over
for the
January was
round.
losing Danny Ward and letting Paul Quinn go back to County. So, you know, arguably until they get Tansey in, they are weaker going out of the window than they are coming into it.
Yeah, so many people getting in touch. It's been a very busy day. Phil London says Aberdeen continue with their policy of trying to poach talent from Inverness rather than find or develop players themselves. That's from Phil. And another one here saying that Aberdeen has shown
This
a
is a
shocking
beauty.
lack of ambition in the transfer window. They couldn't even attract 32-year-old Don Cowie there, and he's free. Usual tight-fisted Stuart Mill, according to this text.
All right, 145 yards out.
I'm not convinced Aberdeen were in for Don Cowie. I know they were linked with him for a while, but I'm not sure they were in for him really. You know.
What about Greg Tansey then? Is he the type of player you think Aberdeen could do with right now? He's quite a tough customer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very good player.
Almost on the
good
green
on the ball.
here. Let's get out of this rough and start putting.
A club like Aberdeen who are going to be hoping to push Celtic all the way, they need to get in as much quality as they can. And I think he fits the bill.
Nice.
He's a
3 feet to the
tough
hole here.
trapper, but once he's on the ball, he can pick a pass, and if you give him time, you get a great shot on him as well. And I think he would be a good fit for Aberdeen with the other players that they've got in the field.
And good job out there. 2 under for your final score. Well, congratulations on a fine round of golf. It is, however, one of the easier courses, so let's try something a little more difficult next time.
Patrick Roberts, he's an unknown quantity at the moment, he's saying, but we were saying he's got the chance, given this 18 months on loan, to prove himself.
Yes, I think he has, and I think that time frame makes more sense than 5 months or 4 months or whatever it be until the summer. I think if Ronnie Dyla is given time, and as I said earlier, that's a moot point. going to come to it. What he is trying to do is he's trying to rebuild his defence, and he's done that with Sviatchenko and Simonovic. So it seems clear to me that as things stand, that's going to be his central pairing in central defence. They've got a surfeit of options, I believe, in the middle of the park, but up front I think they do remain bereft. Chiefchi didn't work out. Carlton Cole is a relative waste of time with a distinguished career behind him. If Lee Griffiths broke his leg tomorrow,
hello there, and welcome to the first round in this event. Let's have a good time out there.
And people would rightly say, what kind of planning was this for the club? What kind of squad planning was this? If anything ill befell Lee Griffiths.
Nice, should be in the fairway.
I think they needed to bring in at least one striker, a convincing striker.
I mean, even the disappearance of Anthony Stokes, obviously him and Ronnie Dyler just cannot get the best out of each other, or Dyler can't get the best out of Stokes, because Stokes has scored a lot of goals for Celtic over however many seasons he's been there, and if he gets going for Hibs, he'll be a factor for them in the Championship.
Well, let's hear from fans your thoughts on today's transfer news. Text us 80295 on Twitter at BBC Sports Sound, or tweet me at BBC Kenny Mark. If anything else happens,
this shot's looking like we have about $1.95 to go.
To give us news of that. You're listening to Sports Sound.
Now that was a swing.
Joined this evening by Michael Grant, Graham Spears, and the Ross County defender Richard Foster. On Thursday night, we'll bring you episode 5 of our new series Teammates, where some of the biggest names in Scottish football discuss their career. This week, John Brown and Stuart McCall reflect on their glory years at Rangers.
Once we've done 2 or 3 times,
holy, chipping it in from the rough. Well done. Starting your round under par, not bad. All right, looking good so far.
Great cross to the back post. McCoy's there. Oh, what a goal from Ali McCoy! A brilliant goal for Rangers, and that will almost certainly put Rangers into the semi-finals of the European Cup.
the first guy to beat us is Watford is this, because Sir Alex Ferguson. Too strong, he's one cheated. Definitely not
Beauty.
to see what was going on.
Okay, well, you ended up in the rough. Sorry to get your hopes up there.
There was something nasty in the Aberdeen games. It really stood out with each, and I've got that injury. They still sing about each, and it's injury that's disgusting. You know, what a decent Aberdeen fan. Just saying that, so just fine. You know, we did everything as a group.
Looks like a 24-footer from here.
We made a successful on the park, I think, because you were best events. And we just keep going back. We've just been like once.
Oh, that was going to be glorious, but it just didn't go. Sorry. All right, a little 6-foot putt here. Thank goodness you dropped that one. There's your bogey. And that hole puts you up to even par. Okay, here we go.
In the cup game against Rangers, he had been under Gary Locke a fair bit of pressure for quite some time now.
Yes, I mean,
this one's looking dialed in.
I know that's a cliche of journalists who quite like managers or coaches that they know, but I got to know Gary Locke.
Unlucky.
Recently,
I take back that last comment.
Kilmarnock.
I'll tell you what, everybody ends up here sometimes. Take this as a learning opportunity.
Terms, it was stop, start, stop, start.
That was a bit underwhelming, but you're out of the sand, so good stuff.
So, purely in objective terms, you know, my heart doesn't bleed for him in that sense. I think football management is
Just
about
Mr.
that.
Parr there. I really want you to have that. Well, let's get out of here. One over for the round.
And that's what happened.
All right, let's haul off and just smash this next drive.
Hearts, he got the Kilmarnock job, but he ran out of time, and he ran out of results, and he ran out of luck. And to be honest, there was a case for his removal, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, the 11 points clear.
Now we are looking at around 185 yards to the pin.
And no doubt, this is a very worrying time for Kilmarnock fans right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, clearly that is what the timing of it and the predicament that the club is in is what's triggered the decision to act now. And presumably the thinking will be, if we get a manager in who can give us a bounce, then we can save ourselves I mean, Kilmarnock, it just seems such a kind of gloomy, apathetic club, you know. I'm not blaming the supporters because the hardcore that go have put up with a lot, but it's a club that over the years just seems to have hemorrhaged a big
little 5-footer here, nothing too scary.
And you look at Rugby Park, it's such a big
nice,
ground,
that'll work for par.
Seats and, you know, what is it, 3,000 they'll get maybe?
Okay, so that'll keep you at 1 over for the round.
They've lost more fans, haven't they, than maybe any other top flight club in the last 15 years.
It certainly seems that way, doesn't it? You know, and I mean, there was a lot of good news came out of the club a year ago when they came out of their debt and they changed the chairman.
Nice, should be in the fairway.
It was a kind of bit of a lift at first. But I mean, like Graham, you can sympathise with Guy a lot, and you hope that he gets back in, but I can certainly see why they've done it. They've been linked with Billy Davis, who's been out of football for a couple of years since Nottingham Forest. And I can see the sense in it. I mean, he's a pretty divisive character, Billy Davis, and you know, he's got his flaws, he's got his talent. I can see the sense in getting a guy in who can kind of shake the place up a bit and get people talking about Kilmarnock, you know. Now, you know, he comes with baggage, and whether that works or not, I don't know, but I can see the sense in that. They can save themselves. You know, we're talking here about Dundee United potentially 5 points behind them if they win against Hand, but you don't tend to win your games in that when you're in the Northern League. And they're not
this is for birdie.
Tussle and Muddle and that, so they can still do changes perhaps what they need right now, but they need changes.
That was nice.
Michael, I reckon, Kenny, if they got Billy Davis...
And that performance brings you down to even par. Not bad.
And Billy gets annoyed with all of this stuff. Michael, you've already used the word baggage and stuff like that. I mean, I got around for saying that Billy Davis was out of a fight in an empty house, you know, and he wasn't happy about it. He does have some of that stuff.
He said having a fight.
He does. I've had a few conversations with Billy, and listen, the thing is, I think he's a brilliant football coach.
I think he said...
And from here, we're about 130 yards out.
He said, you know, Billy Davis for a short period of time when he was on loan there.
He did.
He was fantastic.
He went to Nottingham Forest for 3 months, he scored goals, it wasn't working out well. I think Billy Davis is a really, really top-grade football coach. And if you look at his track record at Derby County and Nottingham Forest, he won a whole pile of Manager of the Month.
Very nice. All right, 14 feet to the hole.
He consistently improved teams he went to. He's a really fine performer.
Yes.
I think he'd be a real good Kelly Gedder, but, you know, would he really...
Okay, 1 under for the round. All right, let's let her rip. This one's looking good.
Like him or don't like him, but reporters in England certainly don't like him, and that was pretty much clear from the coverage. But that doesn't matter very much. It depends on what his reputation is like now in England.
And you have about 180 yards or somewhere thereabouts.
Kilmarnock don't have a chance, I wouldn't have thought. But if he does feel that he's burned his boats in England, then maybe Kilmarnock's the one for that.
Gary, a Kelly fan, has got in touch. Billy Davis would be a good appointment for Kilmarnock, according to Gary.
In the rough, but close to the green. Let's chip this on and start putting.
Does that start to play in your mind when you run out, albeit small attendances at Rugby Park, or when you just can't
All right,
seem to
let's
buy
check
a win
out
at
the
home?
standings
I'm
here.
guessing you feel the pressure right from the start. If you go
And that'll keep you at 1 under for the round.
Next game over.
Yeah, it certainly does. I've been in that situation myself, and you know, it's not a nice feeling if you're looking around the dressing room. And it's the same at Kilmarnock.
Coming off a par on the last one. Let's see what happens here.
Someone coming in like Billy Davis, who, you know, I know a couple of guys that have worked with him, they've probably been one, and man-wise, I think he is very, very good, and he seems to get the best out of the players, and that's, it seems, what Kilmarnock need. You know, like I say, they've got quite a young squad, but they've got a lot of quality there as well, and they just need someone to give them the belief. They can kind of go on, and you know, they do have an 11-point cushion at the moment, and it could be cut to 5, but you know, that's not set in stone. So possibly is a good time for them to kind of change things up, and hopefully, like, you know, they get a bit of a boost and start beating all our rivals to the top six.
I just wondered if the Kilmarnock board
Heading for the green here.
This reputation, if we want to call it that, and the problems he's had with the media. I'm seeing a few of the guys mentioned in connection with the job, Stuart McCall, James Fowler, who wouldn't bring these issues.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a subjective judgment. I just think, as Michael has said, I think...
Okay, for the birdie.
Davis does have some of these issues in his character, but I would qualify it by saying I think he's a really, really fine boarding. And Craig Brown gave him his first break when he made him when Craig Brown took him down to England, certainly in England, then he'd been in Millwall, made him his coach at Preston. You speak to Craig Brown, he thinks Billy Davies is one of the best football coaches this
all right, but a 3-footer here.
Produced in recent years. But the thing is, as you say, Michael,
That'll work for par.
But he's almost fallen off the radar. I mean, you know,
And that'll keep you at 1 under for the round.
Down in England, I think it's 2 or 3 years since he was in football. I'm led to believe that he's ready to go. Whenever he gets a chance, Billy Davies has remained ready to go. It's a question of whether Kilmarnock is a big enough club, big enough opportunity for him, you know. But if they get him, then I think it would be a real coup for Kelly.
Kirsty on Twitter says we need a good man manager and motivator and someone who can organise a team. Fowler is a legend.
Hole number 9.
For him. Keep your thoughts coming to us, Kilmarnock fans. Who would you like to see replace Gary Locke? Text us on 80295. Now we're going to discuss Ronnie Darlett in the next few minutes. Richard, your fantastic performance and result, and I see the smile on your face at Hampden yesterday for Ross County. What were you guys feeling ahead of that game? I saw Martin Wood speaking after the game. The guys were unhappy, some comments.
Okay, 180 yards from the pin here.
Were you guys really fired up for that one yesterday?
Yeah, I think you have to be against Celtic. You know, everyone knows we've discussed the quality, especially going forward. But we felt that if we could put them under enough pressure at the back, we would create chances, and we could cause them a problem. We were a team that we counter-attacked, you know, very well and very quickly. And we knew we had a game plan the way we wanted to play. The manager changed it up a little bit from previous games against them, and it seemed to work for us. Albeit, you know, the whole game changes when we go down to 10 men, but we still stuck to our task. And you know, over the piece, I thought we played really, really well and deserved to go through.
Yeah, Celtic are a very good side, clearly with the very good players, but there are, I think, probably fairly obvious weaknesses in that Celtic side that you can exploit.
Like I said, I mean, we've tried it a couple of ways, and the last time they came up to County, we set off them a bit and tried to hit them on the counter attack. But this time the manager said, what we'll do is we'll kind of play an extra midfielder, but we need to release them early and put pressure on the back line. You know, we noticed that with the ball at their feet, they're not great, with all respect to them. And you know, it works for us. You know,
and you're on the green with quite a long putt ahead of you.
Even before they get the man sent off, and I know they scored the early goal, which kind of knocks us a little bit, but we came back into the game before Ambrose got sent off, and I think it would have been a good tie had they kept 11 men on the pitch. Obviously, you know, a massive boost for us, the man going off and then the penalty, and then from there on, we were lucky at times, and they had a couple of, you know, half chances.
Oh man, that was great. That was a great putt. Just didn't drop at the end.
What did the manager say to you?
Next hole coming up.
Absolutely there for the taking now.
And that'll keep you at 1 under for the round. Okay, it's time to send this ball on its way.
Kind of regain a composure. And he just said, look, you're not going to get a better chance to beat Celtic and get to a cup final. And you know, we all know that as players, that sometimes your manager just
looking good.
You actually get the realisation. I think we came out in the second half and we just looked much more composed, I felt, and obviously we got the second goal relatively quickly. And then from there on,
okay, you're about 140 yards out here.
Break, and I thought we could have scored, you know, more than 3 goals.
Seems to be a few verbals with the Celtic players towards the end of that game. Lee Griffiths and yourself getting involved.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with Johansson's tackle. So obviously I really politely told him that I didn't like his tackle, and Griffiths took umbrage to this and raced over to have a word, and then again I told him really politely that I don't really care what he thinks.
What happens in footballers after the game? Did you shake
I think it's hard, yeah. It's just, you know, you get caught up in the game, and at this point, you know, it's late in the game, I pretty much know the game's over and we've won the game, so you've got that, yeah, I can be a little bit, you know, I can kind of laugh at you and get away with it, but it was always, you know, for me it was an amazing feeling to get to a cup final, and you know, and beating Celtic is always a special occasion, regardless of whether it's in the league or especially in a semi-final.
Yeah, Stephen Harron, Michael, on Twitter saying, could we please discuss the Hampden pitch? Not a great advert for Scottish
All right,
football.
Solid approach shot. You can 2-putt from here for the bird.
That was clear. I think it would probably, from a Celtic point of view, would have been a particularly hard pitch to play on with 10 men. You know, if once County could get the ball down and moving and move them around, Yeah, you would think that it would be really draining on County. Earlier this season I went up to County and I spoke to Richard amongst others. I spent a day behind the scenes at that club, and Jim McIntyre was very generous with his time. And one of the things he did was talk me through the kind of video analysis. He's a big one for that, And Richard's shaking his head because I know they do these big long sessions that bores them all rigid. But when I was watching the kind of analysis on Sports last night of the goals,
that was awesome.
I'm betting anything that is all
2 under for the round.
Because the whole blocking of Lustig, the header at the back post, and Davis spinning off and nodding it back in. And of course, Celtic's defenders are completely static during all of this. I mean, there's the issue with Shark holding Craig Gordon. I mean, I think you can't get away from that. That was a foul. But you take that away, and to be fair, only Dyla acknowledged that as well. I said, leave that aside, the defending wasn't good enough. But himself, from County's point of view, it was textbook.
But Richard, you're the very man to answer this, because to take that even further, Craig Gordon actually said this foul came straight off the training ground, and I was there standing in front of him. The Celtic goalkeeper said what the County players' practice was. They said,
Okay, let's put this ball out there.
To the back post. He was as specific as that. So come on. True or false?
The corner routine is from the training ground, and the manager's very meticulous with the set plays. But you're asking Alex Schulk, who is 5 feet nothing, to block Craig Gordon, who's 6 feet 4. So if you're saying him foul him, if I'm 6 feet 4, I'm just picking him up and throwing him out of the way and coming to catch the ball. I don't think it's as big an issue as maybe Craig's making out.
So that's what you call evasion.
I'm getting high of it. You've got to play the whistle, haven't you?
Yeah,
you've got to play in a penalty box like that, which is bedlam. One issue I would have thought from the game was that there wasn't any additional referees behind the goal line, which you would get for Scottish Cup semi-finals and finals. But not in the League Cup now. Famously, they missed Josh Meeking's handball.
It's looking good.
But it would only have helped pick up that. I know Richard doesn't want Sharks move to be picked up, but that is an issue, I think.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It's the deep stuff for you.
Celtic just didn't react to that set piece move at all.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, it just seemed a very good, professional, all-round performance from County yesterday.
Yeah, it was. And I can argue with a couple of Celtic fans on Twitter last night. I don't think Celtic played that well. I mean, they worked hard. They put in a good shift considering the circumstances. But if you look at the move for the first goal, for the penalty, Martin Woods has got so much space to play the ball through.
Not amazing, but you're out of the bunker, so that's a good thing.
And Shark has made a great run in behind Lustig and Ambrose, and suddenly Celtic are wide open.
Let's go around the table on this one then. Who would you be favourites?
That was going to be excellent. There we go.
Gosh, that's a good question, Kenny. Probably Hibs.
1 under for the round.
But I am wary in answering that of repeatedly insulting Ross County as a club, which guys like me tend to do in the media. I mean, I was chuffed to bits for County yesterday. I thought it was for Richard and his teams. I thought it was a great achievement.
Coming off a bit of a bogey on that last hole. Let's see if we can do better here.
I wanted Celtic to go through because I wanted a Celtic final.
I
wanted Celtic to go through because I thought it would be a much greater spectacle, and I still think that. I don't even mind saying it in front of Richard. I think a Celtic Hibs League Cup final would be a far greater spectacle. But I was chuffed to bits the County did it. Second major cup final in 6 years. A top six club. Jim McIntyre's reinvention as a manager. It's been a fantastic story. But I would probably say just Hibs.
For you, Michael?
I don't know.
Beauty.
I don't know. I said to Richard just before we came on here, there's no result in this final that would surprise me. And I know it sounds like you're sitting on a fence, but it's impossible to say with any confidence.
Okay, 35 feet here.
That was a tough one to call.
Well, I mean, I think Ross County and St Johnstone are very similar in terms of well-organised teams with a couple of, talents that can be match winners for them. And Hibs have just narrowly beaten them.
Oh, I thought that was going to drop. All right, nice little 2-foot putt. Okay, moving along.
Well, I think all the pressure's on Hibs.
And that'll keep you at 1 under for the round. Okay, here we go.
ourselves now. Well, as good as a day as it was for County yesterday, it was another huge disappointment for Celtic and their manager, Ronnie Dyle, who's been on a real rollercoaster ride since joining the club in June 2014. Right, lots of people getting in touch tonight. Dennis Maxwell says, Ronnie Dyle would not progressed. We need more from a coach than one formation fits all. And why sign forward when you only
looking good so far.
One? How would you? It's been a tough time for him, no doubt about that, Graham. How would you assess Ronnie Dyle's time in charge at Celtic?
Stop-start, a step forward, a step back, patchy, by no means seamless progress at all. And I think he's getting to the terrain now of borrowed time. For example, if he loses badly at Pittodrie on Wednesday, I think he could pay for it with his job. Could. It's a bad defeat. I don't think he can afford the defeat. I think he's promised a lot. A great night against Inter, a great performance away against Ajax, but then a Legia Warsaw, a Maribor, a Malmo. There have been lots of calamities under him. And I think he's been at Celtic for 19 months. And I think Celtic fans would have expected
little 6-footer here, nothing too scary.
Progress without all these potholes along the way from a lauded young coach than they've had under Dyla. So I think he's
sitting at 2 under for the round.
Terrain of borrowed time. He can't afford, I don't believe, to
let's give her.
To be going into February with all the advantages Dyla and Celtic have got and only be 3 points ahead in the Premiership race. I think would be unacceptable from Celtic's point of view. So he's treading on thin ice, I think.
Fair enough to ask questions over his future at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems to have been almost a constant.
Looks like you're going to hit some sand here.
To be asking questions. And I think that's based largely on the European results. I mean, whatever happens now this season is a step back for Celtic. I mean, even if they win the double, because they won 2 cups, they won 2 trophies last season, but they did better in Europe last season. They got into the round of 32 in the Europa League this season. The European
decent
Cup
sand shot there. 10-footer here. I think this can go.
You drop in the Europa League, we think, okay, well, let's see if we can make a campaign of this and get past Christmas. They end up finishing bottom of the group without a win.
Yes.
Basically, it's pretty harsh to be judging.
3 under for the round.
Trebles are very rare. I mean, that's what makes them such a special distinction.
Okay, let's give this ball a smash.
Roy Dyla is a Celtic manager in a period where Rangers are unusually weak, and therefore the expectation from, I think, the media and certainly a section of the supporters are that
should be in the
Celtic
fairway.
3 trophies as really firm favourites. So if they don't land all 3, it's a failure.
So what do you think? Is it feeling that if he wins the league, do you think that'll be enough for him to get another crack at Europe?
Yes, I think if he performs well with his team, for example, at Pittodrie this week. I mean, I think, Kenny, we're talking days and weeks at a time with Ronnie Dyla. He's
getting the board seat like that.
Yeah,
their minds made
I
up.
think
He gets another crack at it.
I think Dermot Desmond and guys like Peter Lawwell are thinking about it all the time. What is this coach about? Have we done the right thing? Should we stick with him? I think it's constantly on their minds. Now, if he goes on a great run, and Celtic, I think, did do that last season, I can't quite remember, but if he goes on a resounding run and he wins the league by 12 or 15 points in the end, then yes, I believe he will get.
All right, nice little 2-foot putt.
Having said that,
okay, let's head to the next hole.
I think a League and Cup double is the bare minimum.
4 under for the round.
Manager in the here and now should be delivering. Well, the Rangers at that, you know.
In that run,
Okay, next stop fairway, right?
There's a limit of time, isn't there, how long they can give him, because if they are going to make the change, they need to make it a reasonable time. A new man come in, identify targets, and get them done, because the European campaign kicks off. So
this is a beauty.
Well, I mean, the transfer window shuts tonight. So, you know, if they lose to Pittodrie, or they go out the Scottish Cup in a couple of rounds' time,
I'd say around 105 yards or so to the pin here.
as Graham referred to as sports, with some signings like unsigned Carl Cole and all that, but you're not going to really be able to do any kind of team building for the European qualifiers. And that's the great thing that Dyla said that had hamstrung him.
All right, you're putting now. I'm thinking 2-putt. All right, this next one's for birdie.
To prepare. I mean, I don't think you can make.
Oh, I really wanted you to have that one. 3 feet to the hole here.
This is a young team that's progressing.
Great putt in there for par.
I suspect they will win the league, probably.
Okay, so that'll keep you at 4 under for the round.
Celtic is they have a bad result.
All right, let's let her rip.
And then they go on a good run of domestic form, and it kind of soothes everybody down, and kind of calms the whole situation down, and they win a trophy. It's a hard one. You look at his signings have not been great. There's not that many conspicuous successes. Denier was good. Gordon, I think, was probably a done deal before he came in. Armstrong and Mackay-Stephen have been okay. But, you know, there's Berget, Tonev, Wakaso,
Looks like this is a beauty.
Yanko, Chivsy, Blackett. You know, Gudetti came and went. Boyata's unproven so far. You know, Siminovich and Suyevchenko are just in the doors. I can't just count Cole.
The dilemma
33 feet to the hole here.
The Celtic board, I think, are constantly thinking about this, and yet they're investing in the here and now. They're investing time and money in Ronnie Dyler to rebuild for next season, which he's trying to do. And of course, it's a dilemma. They're asking this guy to bring in the players, but will he be the man? And I think, I just think he's had all these stops and starts, and it's become less convincing as time has gone on with Dyler. It just seems
5-footer here, nothing too bad.
And this week, I think, will be highly significant in two days'
time
for Dyler's future.
I mean, the thing is, whoever comes in is going to be operating in the same transfer market. I mean, they're not suddenly going to say to the next guy, well, here's £6 million.
Nice stroke on that one.
Or £4 million. I think those days are gone now.
3 under for the round.
John Collins have said that a couple of times. Signing from the English Premier League is pretty much a game over. So in that sense, the new guy's not going to have any more money to make dramatic changes. It's a case of whether you can sign better in that kind of £2-3 million bracket, or get more from what you've got.
His budget is still far greater than any of the other team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm assuming that they'll win the league still anyway. I'm talking about maybe.
Okay, the 18th hole here. Let's clear our heads.
One last thing I'll say,
Got the clubhouse coming up after this.
That's a good point.
Just let it flow.
But another name, of course, that keeps coming up on a regular basis, someone saying it on Twitter here again tonight, is Michael O'Neill. There's another one that gets talked about a lot.
Yeah, well, of course, the big complication with Michael O'Neill is he's got a little bit of an engagement in the summer. So you know, he can't be devoting himself to you know, if they have a new manager and it's him. He's at the Euro. So you wouldn't get that benefit of a manager coming in with lots of time to prepare for the Champions League.
Celtic would be, I think, a really good place for the rehabilitation of Davy Moyes' career, coming to a club the size of Celtic with the European dimension. But it's just a question of whether Davy Moyes.
Okay, we're looking at around 170 yards here.
Scotland, he might not want to, but I can imagine Davy Moyes buffing up his credentials with Celtic, especially if he could do what Ronnie Dyler has signally failed to do.
Well, looks like this may be in the deep stuff.
It's hard to judge, to gauge some. It's hard to gauge how the Celtic fans feel. They seem very split, looking at the people getting in touch with us tonight. Grant and Aberdeen
that
phase
was gorgeous. All right, nice little 2-foot putt.
Mostly homegrown talent. Not every trophy will be won. Give him time. Brian and Ellen say Celtic tried to play football on a very poor pitch. Ross County adapted better to the pitch. Celtic need to replace Dyler with Michael O'Neill. Grant and Elgin, Celtic fans do not expect to win the treble every season. It's only you lot in the media that keep banging on about this. I'm very happy with Ronnie. And one more here, Michael.
And
Dyler,
nice little happy tap to finish this one off.
Everyone now, Celtic are in trouble.
What a fine score. I think some kind of an easy course. I think you should try something a little more difficult for the next one. Congratulations on a fine round. 4 under at the end of your round. Not too shabby.
It might surprise the supporters to know that the media likes Ronnie Dyler because he's an articulate guy, he's intelligent, he's thoughtful, he's persuasive.
These guys like him, don't they?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I mean, he's good value to listen to. But I mean, that text that you received there about, you know, his remit is to develop young players. Now, yeah, that's fine, but I don't understand where Patrick Roberts fits into that. He's not their player. You can develop him all you like, but he's going to be Man City would benefit from that in the long term. Colin Kazim-Richards, he's not a young player they're going to develop. Carlton Cole. So I think what we've seen as the Celtic model seems to be kind of being diluted by short-termism. Now I can understand short-termism because if a manager's under pressure or there's question marks about his future, he does have to kind of sign something here and there. Yeah, and also from the little I've seen of Patrick Roberts, I think he'll be an exciting talent for Celtic, and fans will enjoy watching him.
I remember last week saying to me, do you know all the stuff about developing players and bringing through young players. If you're a Rangers or Celtic manager, you've got to hit the ground running. You've got to, whatever else you do, you've got to win. You've got to win. So all that baloney about bringing on players is important, but the primary currency is winning. If you don't do that, you're finished.
You just feel at the moment, Michael, it's interesting, Michael's saying, just his stop-start, he had a disappointing European result, he goes to a decent home run here domestically. They've been very, very good this season. You now feel they could go on and win the title this season. Most people, I'm sure, would expect them to do so. But on the back of that yesterday, you do feel they really, really need a result at Pittodrie on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think he does. I think, Aberdeen have shown this season, like they did last season, that they're really resilient, and they get knocked back, but they keep coming back at Celtic, and they won't let Celtic, get away from them easily. And I think everyone expects Celtic to win the league, because like I said, their budget is far greater than anyone else's. So over the course of a season, with the depth that they've got, they should be winning the league. But the problem they've got now is that teams play against them week to week and think this could be our week to beat them. In a one-off game like we did yesterday, we felt if we put them under enough pressure, we could win the game. And I've played against Celtic teams where you're going to Parkhead thinking if we leave 4-0 down, then we've had a good day. And it's just not the case. Now teams go there and think they can win.
I find that very interesting, because I thought one of the difficulties with Ronnie Dyler yesterday was the language he used after the game, and there, when a manager starts accusing his players of being weak and lacking character, it reminded me of the end days of Dick Advocat at Rangers when he turned on his players. And some managers say there's a cardinal rule: you don't turn on your players, you need them.
It's happened a couple of times now with Dyler.
Yeah, okay. And here Richard played yesterday. It was a great achievement for Ross County, and I don't want to ask Richard a leading question, but you've kind of hinted at it. Do opposition players now think this Celtic team is gettable? You can get at them.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
And a one-off game, yeah. That is a good thing, because I think once you lose that of fear, and don't get me wrong, we all know that when Celtic click and you're not playing well, you can get what happened to Hamilton a couple of weeks ago, and you get 8 foot past you. But that, good organised teams in the Premiership are clearly going into them thinking, right, we've got a chance here. Motherwell beat them at Parkhead 3-4 weeks ago.
A very good performance from Motherwell that day. Lots of people get in touch with the programme tonight. Scott saying here, well done Ross County, hope you get praise you deserve despite poor reporting on radio yesterday that Celtic had a bad day. Well, I think we've had a fair crack at praising Ross County tonight. Well done to all those teams. It's a fantastic performance from them at Hampden, and I think we're all saying it's too close to call the final with Hibs. So that's it for Sports Sound tonight. Thanks to all the lads. We're back tomorrow night at the usual time, 6:30. Good night. That's it. Thanks for listening. Don't forget you can receive all the sports news in our daily bulletins on Radio Scotland and on our website bbc.co.uk/sportscotland.
The Scottish Football Podcast.